First, the late tennis great Arthur Ashe became a sports legend, but he also made a tremendous impact in the community. The Arthur Ashe Institute for Urban Health is now honoring those who mirror his commitment. Ruth C. Browne is the CEO. She's here to tell us all about the organization, as well as one of the honorees. You may recognize him. Olympic medalist fencer Tim Morehouse is also with us. Good morning to both of you. First time meeting you both. Thank you for coming by.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Thank you. Pleasure to meet you.
Tell us about the Institute.
So the legendary Arthur Ashe, tennis celebrity humanitarian, started the Arthur Ashe Institute as the last organization he started before he passed away.
It was like 2 months before he passed, right?
Literally in 1993. The Institute was started in December of 1992, and Arthur passed on February 6th of 93. But this organization is totally focused on health and wellness, and meeting people where they are in the community to try to get them to be more proactive about their own health, the health of their families, and their neighborhoods.
The inspiration behind it, you know, he was dealing with so much. You know, we lost him to AIDS through a blood transfusion. He's actually from Virginia and
Yes.
From Norfolk, so clearly know him, you know, and him being a role model, you know, to a young African-American growing up at the time. But what was it about it that he said, I want to still do this? He was battling and dealing with so much, transitioning from his family to his next chapter, but still wanting to give back.
He came and did a tour in Brooklyn. He came to the campus of SUNY Downstate Medical Center, and he saw many people in the hospital who really shouldn't have been there if they had had the right kind of preventive care. And he was initially invited as a visiting lecturer. And then this idea of starting an institute that would be very community grounded to keep people out of hospitals was really what was the incentive for Arthur.
When you talk about addressing health issues, you know, what are the ones that you're facing and dealing with right now, Ruth?
So the typical things that you see in urban communities around diabetes, hypertension, cancer, but we are also looking at issues of how do you get to the most vulnerable communities, like people returning to their communities from prisons and jails, and how do you get them to access services and link to people who can really help them manage their health.
The demographics that you serve, are you centralized to one specific demo, or who is it? Any and everybody is that you're taking care of?
It's adults and youth.
Okay.
The youth work that we do is really trying to get more young people from the communities that we work in to come back and serve in their communities as health professionals. So we're really trying to encourage their interest in going into the health professions.
A lot of the talk always centers around, you know, oh, we're going to show them new eating habits and, you know, reach for that and don't reach for this, you know, instead replace, you know, butter with something else. Is it that message, or are you going a little bit deeper? Because you're talking about diabetes, you're talking about hypertension, high blood pressure.
Right. So we're not doing typical health education.
Okay.
We're trying to get people to use what they know and take an action around their health. So how do you move people across a continuum that allows them to think about doing something about their health, take an action around it, and maintain it? And that's literally, you know, if you know you have high blood pressure, how do you link to a service, a clinician, and how do you know your numbers and do something and monitor that so that you're making changes in your life and being proactive about your health?
Now tell us about your ball.
Oh. My gosh, first of all, it is the best party in New York City. It's our annual black tie and sneakers gala. I have sneakers.
Yeah,
But it's about 400 people who are coming to Guastavino's next Wednesday, October 21st,
okay.
From 6 to 10. Tickets are still available. We are honoring the fabulous Tim Morehouse here. We are honoring Susan Lucci. We're honoring AstraZeneca,
okay.
and we're honoring Susan Lucci for her commitment to United Cerebral Palsy. And the iconic actress has used her celebrity like Arthur. And Tim Morehouse, we are honoring for introducing thousands of urban kids to the fabulous sport of fencing. Again, like Arthur, using his celebrity as an Olympian to raise consciousness about how you can, one, get fit through health, through sport, but also introducing folks to a sport that is not typical in urban communities, just like tennis wasn't for Arthur.
Tim, how does it make you feel knowing that you are being honored, you know, in the footsteps of this trailblazing pioneer?
I mean, it's very humbling. It's amazing. I mean, when you think of athletes who've had an impact in this country, I mean, you think of people like Jackie Robinson, and you think of Arthur Ashe. So to even be mentioned, you know, in the same sense as Arthur Ashe is just tremendous. I mean, people know the name, but I've always known Arthur Ashe, but just looking back at his story, the obstacles he faced,
Exactly.
the segregation, the racism, even just to get to where he got to be the #1 tennis player in the world, to win Grand Slams, even that by itself is unbelievable. And then he took all of that and he started 4 organizations and really took that power as an athlete to try to change our country. And by the way, Ruth is amazing as well. If you know her story, she, really, she's very humble, but he started this organization 2 months before he died. It was really an idea, and she was really the person who one of the many people involved in helping, but picked up the baton, saw his vision, and was inspired to carry it forward the same way I'm inspired to carry forward what I do with fencing. You see these examples like Arthur Ashe, and you're like, I want to do half of what he's done. If I can, I'll have done something tremendous. So.
And we love it that Tim is so young, knows who Arthur Ashe is. I mean, as you think about promoting the legacy of Arthur Ashe, you want more and more people who are younger and younger to remember the great tennis and celebrity and
every
humanitarian.
kid should grow up knowing who Arthur Ashe is,
I totally agree
who Jackie
with that.
Robinson is, who these people who they really transcended. It's more than about sports. I think it's what we try to do with our foundation, with fencing in school. It's not just about fencing, really. It's about helping kids, giving them positive messages. Like fencing with these great role models. I want the kids to know about, Daryl Homer, how he came from the Bronx, and he's a fencer now, and going to the Olympics for Rio, and all these athletes that we have. They're just, tremendous power. There we go with that.
Yeah, we're looking at the video now. So tell us a little bit more about fencing in schools before we get to your resume.
Yeah, well, fencing in schools, fencingschools.org is our website. We basically bring fencing programs to schools, but we want to use fencing as a vehicle to teach kids life lessons. We were in 13 states last year. We've introduced over 20,000 kids to fencing. We're actually starting our first varsity teams this year, so the Democracy Prep Dragons are going to be making their premiere this year as a varsity team, training up in Harlem on 133rd Street. We're really excited about that. And it's just been amazing working with the kids and trying to provide them with an opportunity. I had the opportunity to find fencing when I was 13. I was just lucky that my school had it, and I'm just trying to push it forward now. I want every kid to have the opportunity to experience the sport. If they want to follow it, amazing. If it's just something that they do for a little bit and enjoy it, that's great too. But I just think kids should have the opportunity to try things out, really find what they're passionate about. One of my favorite programs with these guys as well is actually bring kids into the hospitals. They have a lot of direct programs, really exposing and engaging the kids what it's all about.
So now we want to remind everyone.
Yes.
2008.
2008 silver medal. I competed in
Beijing.
London. Amazing moment in my life.
Look, there you go.
Yes. Very fortunate. First medal in our events is 1948. I actually passed out at the Olympics when we made the finals. It was just to see a dream coming true before your eyes, and I know how powerful a moment that is. And fencing's a great sport. There's so many great things that are out there, and I think for our country to grow, it's all about reaching the kids.
That's
and
right.
it's all about equipping them with tools to succeed. And I'm in that sort of, that's my fight, and I use fencing as my vehicle to do that.
Now, Ruth mentioned about you introducing it to kids who wouldn't otherwise have any way of coming into contact. What's been the reception, of those that you've been sharing? Are they going like, what is this? And you're teaching them, this is fencing. We're not playing with sticks and swords here. This is the art of fencing.
And this is fencing. It's not the thing around your school building. Which
Exactly.
Sometimes it's like, oh, you're going to build us a fence? Like, no. I mean, the reaction has been tremendous. The kids love it. As soon as we pull out the foils and the sabers, I think they get it. They're like, oh, cool, it's sword fighting. 99% of our kids have never fenced before, and we always survey them after them, and they all leave with this great experience, wanting to do more. That's why we have the varsity team now. The kids are saying, look, we want to fence more. How do we do that? So I'm out doing what Ruth is doing, which is raising money for our cause and trying to get more kids involved. But it's been amazing, and kids love playing with swords. So if you ever see a school, elementary school, middle school, when we do our little fencing demonstration for them the first time, they're like bouncing out of their seats. It's really fun to watch.
Your website again is?
Fencingintheschools.org.
And the gala is?
Gala is October 21st at Guastavinos under the 59th Street Bridge, and it's from 6 to 10. And our website is arthurasheinstitute.org.
So nice to meet you both. Continued success with all that you're doing to the community, and thank you so much, and thank you for representing our country.
Thank you.
2008, and
We
congratulations.
hope everyone comes out and joins us next week for a good party and a great cause.
It's the best party.
All right, stick around for a second, because up next we have a different take on the